All right, wait. That was a small test. I can come again. Look what I found. It's stink, it's dirty, and today on the cleanup, I'm washing this. Welcome back to another episode of the Cleanup, guys. Today we're going through car washing 101. I'm going to show you the process I like to follow when I'm washing a car. Do you have to do it this way? No, but this is the way I like to do it, so I'm sharing it with you guys. I'm going to show you all the products I use, some tips, tricks along the way. We have this absolutely disgusting Swift. Y'all cannot tell me anymore that I wash clean cars. I'm pretty sure this car has not been washed for at least 3 years. It is disgusting, it is white. I'm not sure what color the wheels are, but we're gonna find out together. The first thing I'm gonna do when I'm washing a car, I usually start with the wheels and tires. So I'm gonna do that first. I'm gonna show you guys how I do that and what products I like to use. Once the wheels and tires have been cleaned, I'm gonna move on to the rest of the car. Today I'm using a pressure washer. Of course, all of these kind of process that I'm following works perfectly with a garden hose as well. If you have access to a pressure washer, it sometimes makes things a bit easier, but if not, garden hose is perfect too. So I'll shut up now, let's get cleaning. These are some like sample wheel cleaning products I have. My normal go-to wheel cleaner is Surf City Code Red.
Did you order the Code Red? Damn right I did!
To me, that is one of the best wheel cleaners I've used. Even on wheels like this, like you'll be shocked at just spraying on that alone, how much it would improve or clean the wheels on its own, improve. If you are using a wheel cleaner, it is really important that you apply the product when the wheels are clean.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Are dry and cool, not clean. You can put it on if you want when they're clean, but you'll be wasting a lot of product. See this? That is disgusting. And that means that this wheel cleaner is doing its job. So I usually hit the tires and the wheels one time. I'm gonna let that dwell for a bit. While that's sitting there, I'm gonna just go around the car and spray the rest of the wheels. Normally wheel cleaner or like wheel and tire cleaners smell like you shouldn't be smelling them. But this one actually smells pretty decent. This smells like it's cleaning.
Just smell that.
I mean, it's wheel cleaner, right? So it's like it's usually acid based and they smell fairly aggressive. I don't recommend sniffing wheel cleaner. So the wheel cleaner has been dwelling on all the wheels now for a couple minutes. Again, it's real important that you apply and use this stuff in the shade when the wheels are cool. Don't do this in direct sunlight. If you have to do it in direct sunlight, work very quickly and don't leave it on the wheel for any longer than a minute. I also have my wheel cleaning bucket right here with a couple brushes. This is my wheel cleaning mitt and I have a few brushes and a tire brush. So all I'm gonna do before I rinse the cleaner off, I'm just gonna give the tires a quick scrub. I waited a bit too long to do this. Don't leave it on the wheel for any longer than a minute. You know, we'll do it anyway. Normally you would want to do this kind of 30 seconds after you've applied the wheel cleaner. Anyway, I'm gonna hit this with the pressure washer now, clean off all the wheels, and then we'll see how they look. Now you can actually see the color of the wheel, which weirdly resembles dirt anyway.
Please, no! No!
But with like no effort, you know, I didn't clean. Obviously, they're still not perfect. I would follow this up with a tool like this and just give the barrels a quick scrub. Now, I will tell you guys, because this car is not washed regularly, these wheels have some brake dust and dirt that's literally baked on. And no matter how hard Jeremy tries, Jeremy's not going to be able to clean it, so Jeremy's not going to try very hard. Using a good wheel cleaner will get you to this stage. Were this wheel in better condition, from here, you would just take another 30 seconds, maybe pass over these spokes with a sponge and it would be good to go. So I'm just going to move around to the rest, wash them off, and then we'll deal with the body of the car. And that one last little point with the wheel cleaner, guys, if you are using it, make sure, whether a garden hose or a pressure washer, it doesn't matter, but make sure that you rinse it off really, really well. It's not something you want to leave on the wheel or tire because it can eat away at the paint eventually if it's left for too long. Now that the wheels and tires have been cleaned, we don't need to look back at them until the end of the process. So we're gonna move on to the absolutely disgusting rest of the car. So I got the pressure washer ready to go. I'm gonna hose down the car. After I hose it down, I'm going to use the foam cannon and foam it. Now, foaming is not an absolutely necessary part of the process. Obviously, everybody doesn't have a foam cannon or a pressure washer, so you can't. The most important part when you're actually washing the car is to at least use the 2-bucket method, which I'll explain in a second. If you have a pressure washer, highly recommend getting a foam cannon. One, It really helps by foaming the car first. It's gonna lift some of that superficial dirt and some of the larger pieces off before you actually go and touch the car with a sponge to help reduce scratching and swirling. And number two with foaming is that it's just fun. You'll see in a second, like it's sick to just be able to foam down the whole car.
Oh my God! Wow!
So like, why wouldn't you want to do that? Foaming always works best with a pressure washer. Actually, in store now, we do have foam cannons for pressure washers and for garden hoses. Just note, if you are gonna try the garden hose foam cannon, you do have to play with the ratios of soap to water a bit more. You tend to have to use a bit more soap because you don't have the pressure to generate the foam and the bubbles. But you'll see with the pressure washer, it works amazingly well. I'm gonna wash down the car, attach the foam cannon, foam it, and then from there we'll talk about the actual start of the wash procedure.
6.5 hours later.
One of the nice things with washing with a pressure washer obviously is that you can actually use it to knock off a lot of the, or some of the dirt before you actually go and foam or soap the car. It's important to note, we're not using a high pressure washer. You don't need anything more than 1500, but you shouldn't use anything more than 2000 PSI on the car. But anywhere between 1000 and 1500 PSI is plenty to wash a car. The actual flow rate is what's more important. Like you want as close to 2 gallons per minute if you can get it. But this obviously just makes cleaning a bit easier because you just use the pressure to knock off some of the dirt before you actually start washing. Y'all knew this car was white? Dude, I don't even know what some of these stains are. Honestly, I don't know, what the hell is this? Is that bird dropping? All right guys, I've rinsed down the car and tried to knock off some dirt using the pressure washer. I got my foam cannon connected here now. So I'm gonna foam down the car, let it dwell for a bit, and once that's sat on the car for a couple minutes, I'm gonna then just go straight into actually washing the car.
Do it! Just do it!
Some people like to rinse the car after they've foamed it and then wash it. With this car, it really don't make a difference. I don't need to be overly protective because this car has swirls all over it. So, you know, doing it this way is not gonna make a difference. And I just need as much soap on the car as possible to try and help the cleaning process go a bit faster so that I'm not here washing this car for 3 hours. So I'm gonna hit this with some foam now.
3 hours later. You put in that bad nasty B-roll of the foaming.
All right, cool, now the car is foamed. As you can see, I haven't rinsed it yet. All the foam is still sitting on the car. Another benefit of doing it this way is in the event you actually have to wash your car in the sun, if you have the ability to foam it, if not, fine. But by keeping the soap on the car, because the soap that we're using, like Surf City soap, for example, and actually I believe this one is as well, is pH neutral. It helps again kind of avoid, when it dries down, getting water spots and stuff like that. So now I'm gonna move to the actual second part of the wash, if you wanna call it that. So I have my 2 buckets. Now the 2 bucket wash method, some of you probably know what it is, some of you maybe don't. The idea is that you have 1 bucket with your soap solution in it. In other words, like so today I'm using the Crystal Wash and Wax. So I have this filled with water. I'm gonna pour about, I'm guessing here, probably 2 to 3, that's probably 3 to 4 ounces of soap. And this is your soap solution bucket. Your second bucket is primarily gonna be used for rinsing. So I'll show you what that looks like, but the idea is that you try to keep your soap water as clean as possible. So you dip your sponge in here, microfiber wash mitt, whatever you're using to actually touch the car and wash it. Scrub whatever panel you're gonna be scrubbing. And then before going back into the soap, you go into the rinse bucket and try and clean some of the dirt out the sponge. Then you come back to the soap bucket and go back onto the next panel. So I'll show you all what that looks like. I just need to get this foamed up a little bit. So my sponge in the wash bucket, and I always recommend that you guys start when you're washing the car, start from the top and work your way down. Full disclosure, I legit do not know if this car is even gonna get clean. So we're gonna try our best.
Stop it. Get some help.
Now this car, the top of this car actually has an extremely old sticker on it. Again, this is kind of pointless. It's not really gonna get clean, but we're gonna give it a quick wipe down. I've done half, so I'm gonna flip my sponge over, go down the other side of the roof. Normally I would recommend that you guys try to work in like front to back motions rather than circles. Again, it's just another technique that I found can sometimes help reduce the chances of adding scratches or swirls to the finish. Is it necessary? I don't know, but it's just if I like to do it, so that's what I do.
Let's do all the things that you want to do.
Like I've done in other videos, I'm not gonna rinse the soap off the car. I'm just gonna leave it and I'm gonna work through the whole entire car and then I'll rinse the whole car when I'm finished. If you prefer, you can rinse panel by panel. So if you wanted to now, I could rinse the roof off, move on to the bonnet, rinse the bonnet, etc. and just rinse in between. I like to just leave the soap on the car, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dip in my rinse bucket first to try and get some of that dirty water out, give it a little squeeze. And then once it's been rinsed, I'm gonna go back into my wash bucket where the clean soap is, and we're gonna go back at it. So one thing I like to do as well, guys, is when the car is really dirty like this, and you get down into these like heavier sections where there's like really like, you know, either big pieces of dirt or it's just a lot dirtier. Normally what I would do is like, so I would hit the trunk section, like how I am now, get that nice and cleaned off. Then I'm gonna flip the sponge over. And once I start this section of the bumper, I'm not gonna come back up here because this sponge is gonna collect and grab a lot of dirt. And if I come back up here with this now, it's gonna leave a higher possibility of me adding swirls and scratches to this section. I like to kind of keep it separate like that. And once I'm done here, of course, I'm gonna make sure I take this to the rinse bucket and rinse it really, really well to try and get out as much dirt and grime from the sponge as I can. Now, as I said, this car is in pretty rough shape, so I don't have to be as careful because, you know, the car is not highly polished and waxed and in like really good condition, but it's still right to do the right thing. The right thing to do is always the right thing to do.
Be a man. Do the right thing.
I should charge people for this though, what do you reckon? You think people would pay for a wash? If you all want me to wash your car, what do you think a fair price to charge is? How much would you pay for me to wash your car for you? Let me know. I'm looking for a side hustle. I wash the whole car, and now it's time to rinse it. I think there's a decent difference already. What I might do, because I'm now seeing some spots, is I'm gonna give it a rinse, and if I see some dirty spots, I'm gonna go back over and deal with them. And then once the car is rinsed, we're ready to move on to the drying stage. So let me rinse it, tidy up some of these last little dirty spots, and then I'll come back to you and we can talk about drying. This is a drying towel. This is gonna change people's lives once we get this in the store. It's cleaner. The car has now been cleaned. I've rinsed it. I think it's as clean as it will probably get. You can tell it's white. No, the wheels are still, you know,
It's B-A-D.
they're clean, but dirt colored. Today I'm using a drying towel. We have smaller versions of these in the stores, and these big ones are soon going to be available, so stay tuned on our Instagram and Facebook. You'll definitely see when these are available. I promise you, once you start drying your car with these, you will never go back to anything else. These will change your life. The other thing I like to use sometimes, this is just a quick detailer that's diluted. So any of our quick detailers in store, Hot Rod, Surf City, Spray Waxes, Forklift, 1 second. So yeah, sometimes what I like to do, not all the time, but you can, I like to use a quick detailer as a drying aid. So basically when I'm going to dry a section in the car, I hit it with a little bit of quick detailer, drop the towel on, and pull it dry. Now this process is not as impressive on this car because it's disgusting. But again, the quick detailer is just acting as like a lubricant. So as you're drying, it's gonna help minimize the chances of adding more scratches or swirls to the finish. So if your car is in good shape, I highly recommend you giving this little process a shot with adding quick detailer as a drying aid. It really helps protect your nice finish. If your car is not in great shape, it's an easy way to add a little bit of gloss and shine. This one that I'm using can go on the windows and stuff, so if you see me spraying it on there, you know why. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up now, dry the rest of the car, and then we'll see what the final result looks like. We got distracted. We'll be right back after these messages. It's nice, right? It's real nice. How sick is that? If people get these and they're not used to driving fast cars, they will f***ing crash the shit out of this. You ready? I told you that I would surprise you. These things are sick. Electric cars, whatever, like I have opinions, but they're one party trick. That like immediate torque is just so sick. You like that sport now? Yeah. All right, we can go out of washing cars now. All right, so I just want to tidy up the last few things. Now the car is obviously dried. To me, it looks significantly better than it did when I came in here, which is a good sign. We did something right. So just a few last little things. We got to put some tire shine on, which I'll do in a second. But I have some GX3 plastic restorer here, a microfiber applicator. You can see how the cowl here, the windshield cowl, is all like grayed out, old and looking dingy and stink. So I'm gonna just show you guys how good this GX3 really works with stuff like this. So I'm gonna spray quite a bit here onto the front of the applicator, and I'm gonna just rub this on and try to get it into all of the like creases and sections. Get this nice and get this back to black. You see that difference? And that's gone back pretty, it's not perfectly black, but it's a lot more black than it was and looks a lot nicer. And little things like this, that's why products like this are so good, right? Little things like that make such a huge difference in the overall appearance of your vehicle. And you can use this anywhere. If you have like these sections near your wing mirrors that are faded as well, this GX3 works perfect on this section. So you don't, and this is not something you would have to do every wash, right? You could every 2, 3, 4, 5 washes, just, you know, apply a coat, keep an eye on it, and when you see it going back gray, you can get your GX3 out again and just apply some more. And it makes such a big difference to just, you know, how nice and clean and shiny your car looks. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get these tires shined up. Everybody's favorite, Crystal Untouchable. Everybody except Jeremy. I do like it, but for me, as I told you guys in a previous video, I like something that's a bit more satin, a bit more subtle. Untouchable is very, very high gloss, but that's what this car deserves today. Pretty happy with it, considering it only took 4 hours. No, I didn't. That is the end of this episode of the cleanup. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, this is the process that I like to use when I'm washing a car. I'm not saying it's the best way. I'm not saying it's the only way. If you have other tips or tricks you want to share, let us know in the comments below. If you have questions about what we went through today, ask away. I think the car looks way better than it did when it came in here. It's still not great, but there's not much more that I can do outside of what I've done today. For the record, we do offer headlight polishing services. I'm gonna make sure this one gets done today. You can go to any location and get it done, $30, you're welcome. And that's it, guys. That's this episode of the cleanup done. We're like so close to 10K. When we get to 10K, we're gonna give away a whole bunch of stuff. So tell your friends and tell your family to follow us on Instagram, and you could be the one to win some free Automotive Art swag. Anyway, guys, that is the end of this episode of the cleanup. I'm Jeremy, and I'll catch you in the next one.